Hi, and welcome back to my channel. In this series, I'm building a ReDuplicator, basically taking a one-hot duplicator i3 and turning it into a newer, leaner, meaner machine. In the previous episode, we built the base, which you can see right here as a solid foundation for the ReDuplicator. And in this part, we're going to build the Z-tower, part 4 from the instructions. Let's get started. So, we're going to attach it on both sides. It's actual... Oh boy, it's going to get stretched up. No worries. Let's do this and grab another part on the other side. The orientation matters. Ah! You'll notice something, which I didn't notice. There's a notch. So these actually, it matters which way it goes. Aha! Very clever. So, in that case, we will slide it on this side. More space to wiggle. Ah! See? On each side of the 380mm crossbeam, attach the vertical 55 extrusion. I think these are 55. On each side, this should be attached with a corner bracket. Okay, so take one of these. So I think they go like this. Also, the way we attach this beam is with a bracket. I have those conveniently here. I think the orientation here matters. I think I got this wrong. See? I don't know if you can see it, but see how there's a little, there, right there. There's a bump on one side and not on the other. I think that matters quite a bit. You have to pay attention to which side you put in there. Yeah, definitely the when you're going at 90 degrees perpendicular, And an interior corner doesn't matter, the raised side, but when you're at this sort of intersection, lining up the metal is really important because it sort of grabs in that empty space. It's a little bit fidgety in that regard. Let's try to add these spacers to see if they make any difference. There's some sort of plastic. CA glue. If I can find a usable bottle. Well, unusable bottle. Ugh, not quite tacky enough. All right, the glue is mostly dry. It's dry enough to do a test. So let's get this on there. Interesting. Too wide. Trim this down a bit. Aha. Okay. Nice and snug. All right, I got it. Off camera, I was able to finagle it with the plastic shims and just a lot more brute force to get nice and rigid. So we can carry on. Now that we have the brackets in place, we go on to the back. The vertical extrusions. So let's turn this around. Install the Z-axis bottom right and the Z-axis bottom left pieces. Let's look at these. These pieces. Let's figure out which one's which. It may be self-evident. Given the third insert, quite tough. This will be a fun one to figure out how to get in there. There's not a lot of play for tightening. So if I tighten this all the way, it's still not in the right spot. So we'll figure that out. First, which one is the right one. Looking at this image, it looks like it goes like so. For the standard layout, which is what I'm doing, and that makes sense given the angle. Alright, let's just see if I can fit this. Alright, did a little sanding off camera. And I need to get this down to bottom of these parts should be exactly 44 millimeters from the base of the printer. It's not exactly the most easy to maneuver. So 44. I have a feeling this is going to be pretty much flush. Is it flush with the edge? Nope. Kind of close. That's not quite 44. Just use a little caveman power. Yeah. Where's my caveman power? I like having one of these smaller hammers around so I can do a little bit more controlled. Before I insert the smooth rods, I'm going to clean them a little bit. I got some isopropyl alcohol. And this is just the, and it's never been cleaned by me, so let's give this a quick rub down. For good measure, some more. Yeah, there's dirt. Not a whole lot. This is just your basic 91% isopropyl alcohol. 3D print device. I link it in the description. I also have a stick device, which is awesome, but this is a little bit taller. And I know I can print taller jaws for the stick device, but for now this is a lot easier to use. This also has removable jaw faces, I guess you'd call them, so you can customize for specific applications. And that was kind of the idea, that if you wanted it round, you can have round. But in the meantime, we have this to deal with. I want to go below the surface. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, so you won't be able to see it on camera, but in the article I linked in a previous video, you can see a little bit of a ridge there as a result of not using the dissipation tool. Mount the securer to the motor with a 12 millimeter M3 screw and a 16mm M3 screw where it also mounts the Z motor dampener. Mount the other side of the Z motor with a 12mm. I think I need to get my hands on the motors. This version of the Duplicator i3, the one I got, had dampeners on them already. I think I added these as aftermarket to similarly just adjust for wobble and offset. What I'm going to do now is remove this thread rods and do the same cleaning I did for the straight rods. Cool. Oh, that's working way better. I won't really be able to get into the grooves without some sort of brush, which I really don't have. I'm going to cut this. Little flush cutters. Opening up that gap so I can fit this through. And I'll really fit this through. I mean, there's like no chance it's gonna fit. Fascinating. Alright, so we put that in there. Now I'm going to take a 16mm M3. What's happening is, because this hole is not quite right size, the other holes are flailing out. So I'm trying to get this as tight as possible. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to follow my original technique for the alcohol. And just dip them in before the top. Actually, this is just easier. I did one already. Now I'll do the second one. So the thing about these dampeners, coupler things, is you don't want to go past, with the rod, past the spring. So really it should just sit pretty easily and then you're good to go. Tighten up little doohickeys. If you push too hard, then you'll actually seat it past the spring, and then the spring part is going to be going in between and hitting the threaded rod. Also, you're losing some vertical height by doing so. So let's tighten it pretty well, and then get a little more leverage this way. Cool. So now we should be done with Teflon for reels. I think the idea is that you apply this seasonally. So do a lot of prints, I don't know, a couple times a year. But we'll see. I haven't had this on before. I'm hoping it will help. Alright, back to our build. So we've got two motors that will effectively go like so. I'm going to assume these are identical and that we'll mount them accordingly. Let's figure out what screws I need left. Oh, mount the secure to the motor parts with a 12 and 16 millimeter M3s. I imagine the 16 will be on this one because there's a little bit more gap with the secure. So I'll need two 16s and two 12s. About right? Yep. And let's give this a go. Just one enough to give it some teeth. Oh, the original i3 only had two screws holding the motor mounts, so I think the fact that the secures flange up might not be an issue because, well, all I need is two screws. Sweet. Well, that was easy. Sweet. So now I can just tighten this up all the way. This one might be tightened as it is. Yeah. Let's get these motor mounts nice and tight. These are, I think they're called ball-ended Allen wrenches. Let's get a close-up of a bigger one. So normal Allen wrenches, you know, have that sort of hex shape. These have little balls in the end, and the reason why that's handy, especially for mechanical and tiny fidgety parts, is you can come in at a little bit more of an angle, and it helps extend. When you're doing stuff like this. And here you go. This is actually starting to look like a 3D printer. Well, that was fun, and for my next video, I'll be working on the X carriage. Hope to see you then. Cheers.